Welcome back, guys, everyone out there. This is actually in addition to the previous two lessons I've done on changing strings for electric guitars. One was acoustic, one was electric, but and I wanted to add something on actually, is that this is for changing strings with locking tuners. So some of you might have a guitar that has kind of some more expensive tuners on it, where you actually don't have to wind it around the peg head, which is very convenient. So I'm just going to do a quick little lesson here without even the close-up, because it's actually quite simple, and just talk a little bit about the process. So and I realized to do this lesson as I had changed all my strings except for the high ones, so lucky you guys, we're going to change the high E today. So the way that we do this, it's actually pretty simple, is you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a pack of strings. So I have my final string right here. Now, as you go through changing your strings, you always want to match up and make sure you have the right one. I use color-coded strings that are at the ends of it. Actually, the ball end is actually color-coded. So when you check that, you want to get your string, and you don't necessarily need this, but this is handy. It's a string winder, but you actually won't need the winder. You're just going to need some sort of pliers, and to cut the new string, cut the excess off. So you're going to need that. So here we go. And the way that we do it is take your high E and just loosen it. And you want to bring it all the way down. At least this is what I found is simplest, is to keep bringing it around until the excess part of the string more or less is kind of in a straight line this way with how it went through the peg head originally. So lots of slack on the string, and what you're going to notice is on the back side of each of your tuners there's a little dial that has some grip on it, some little teeth, so to speak, and you want to take it and looking at it, I think it goes like this for all tuners, I'm not totally sure, but with at least my two types that I have, it's this way, is you want to turn counterclockwise to loosen it, and you should feel it maybe hear a little bit of a click, and then the string will fall right out if you do it that way. You just want to make sure to release the tension first, because sometimes the string can fly out if you loosen it otherwise. So then you want to take your guitar and just kind of keep it on your legs here, looking up at it, and as you pull out the end of the string here, you can't see this, but because it's been kinked, it's kind of in an L shape, and you want to make sure that as you pull it through your stop piece or pull it back through your bridge, that it doesn't snap out. And especially with Les Paul style guitars where you have you know, you thread the strings through the top, you want to make sure that as you pull it out that it doesn't scrape the paint on the body. So I actually had a guitar a long time ago and I didn't realize this, and it was a kind of a black finish and it was all beat up anyway, but I noticed, I looked down at it once and I saw that there was tons and tons of little scratches right behind the stop piece, because every time I pulled the string out it made a little scrape. So unless you're into that kind of thing, you want to make sure to not let that happen. So anyway, so take your string and then you want to coil it up a little bit, kind of like it was when it came out of the pack, just to make it a little easier to dispose of. And keep all your strings in some sort of a pile to where you can pick them up immediately. Don't let any, if you have any cats or dogs, you want to make sure that you pick them up, because they will play with them and they might chew on them, and they're quite sharp. So now that the old string is off, you want to take your new string, kind of coiled up as I just coiled up the old one, and unwind this. And be careful as you unwind it not to kink it at all, because that's going to affect the string performance, and you obviously don't want that. So once you unwind it, the ball end is going to go through the stop piece. So you take the pointy end, and it's quite simple. So I think you guys will get this. And I feed this without the close-up, I mean. So you want to feed this until the ball is right against the stop piece, and then you have on the bridge with electric guitars, you have a little saddle, and the saddle is the adjustable part of the bridge, and so you want to make sure that the saddle, there's a little groove in the saddle, and that the bridge, the string is sitting right on the groove in the saddle. And then you come over here and you just feed it through the eye of the tuner, And here's where what you want to do is actually take the tuner and give it a, if you need to, give it a twist or two to where it lines up to where as you hold the string and you pull the string, it has a nice straight feed through the tuner. So once you have that, I hold it with my right hand, and you want to just grab that tuner and twist it clockwise until you feel it starting to tighten around the string. And I do it moderately tight. You don't want to do it too tight, but you definitely don't want to do it too loose. Now what's happening is the way these tuners work is that as you tighten that, it's taking kind of a, I don't know, some sort of a metal, like a metal peg or something, and it's actually, as the string goes through, this metal peg comes up and kind of does this and actually bends the string and compresses it. And so it has an extremely tight grip against the string. But if you go too tight, you can almost get it stuck when you try to take it out. So it's pretty important to, well, I don't know, I just don't freak out about it, you'll be fine. So once you do that and it feels nice and snug, then all you got to do is tighten it. And you don't need a string winder because there's no winding now, which is great. And just tighten it up to pitch. And you're going to want to have some kind of a tuner. I have a floor tuner here, pedal tuner. Yeah, she knows what's up. And so I'm just tightening my E string up to an E pitch here. And I'm leaving the excess right now until I'm confident that it's tuned in, and this is after the next step, and then I'll cut it off, because actually what we're going to do now is stretch in the string. And what that is that we're going to take, and this is in the other videos too, is that we're going to grab the string in the middle with the right hand, and I use my first, middle, and third finger, doesn't really matter, but these three and my thumb, and I grab it about the 9th fret. And what's going to happen is I'm going to pull the string upwards, so away from the neck of the guitar, but I want to brace the neck to do that. So I'm going to take my inner elbow and I'm going to actually hold it the same string at the bridge with my right hand, and my left hand is going to come over and hold around the 2nd fret. And as I pull up, I'm going to push in. Now because this is the high string, you want to pull moderately lightly, because you actually could break the string or weaken the string, because it's a very thin string, it's still strong, but you just want to be careful to not, obviously, to not break it as you're trying to stretch it in. So I'm just pulling a little bit, moderately hard, and then you want to test your pitch, and that dropped a half step. Which actually isn't too bad. Now one of the benefits of locking tuners is that this process of stretching in the string happens a lot quicker. The string doesn't drop as much because there's no winding to compress around the peg head, is that it's a straight feed all the way through, which is really nice. Makes life a lot easier. And not having to wind it and guide it through is also a lot easier. So now that my string's tuned to pitch, I'm going to take my pliers or my string winder, whichever you have, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to clip. And I'm going to leave just a little bit, about 2 or 3 millimeters. Take the excess in your pile of strings. So my voice is probably booming right there with the mic. And you're all set. So that's how you change strings on a locking tuner guitar. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, feel free to contact. And stay in tune. Rock hard. I'll see you soon.